present his paper, please come up. And he has written this paper together with Andrew Hutchinson, but you are alone here.
Yes, I'm John, but Andrew can't make it.
Okay, John, please go ahead.
So, thank you very much. Another Australian entry. This is about wine, and to prove that it's Australia, I include this picture. And we have very good wine, and that's because the kangaroos jump up and down, make the grapes happy, and that's why the wine's so good. But really, the reality is that buying wine in Australia is very similar to buying wine anywhere in the world, possibly not America, but in Europe. It looks like this. Very boring, pretty standard stuff. And this paper is about increasing the sales and the satisfaction for both customers and for retailers by laying out stores the way that shoppers actually think and behave, rather than the way retailers think that it should be done, or vignerons. This is our client from Treasury Wine Estates. It's a global wine company. They have a leading portfolio of brands. Some of you may have heard of Penfolds, Lindemans, Wolf Blass, some terrific brands. Andrew couldn't be here today. Here's his message.
Thanks, John. I'm Andrew Hutchison from Treasury Wine Estate, and I'm really sorry I can't be with you today to help explain this exciting shopper project that we've been working on, but we had some unavoidable business issues back in Australia that I need to take care of. This project's been exciting because we've found out something new about the wine category, something new about this ancient category that's been around for millennia. And we found out something new about the way that people shop for wine, and we think that's potentially game-changing and very profitable for us. It's not just John and I that are excited about this project. This is what some of our retailers had to say about it.
It's great for the customer, it's great for our staff. We need to carry less stock now.
Customers find it easier, and that's part of their shopping experience, is they actually go to where they see their favourite brands, and that's where they go straight to that signage.
And shoppers love our new stores too. 87% said they liked shopping for wine in the new layout. Almost 80% said they preferred to shop the trial store to other liquor stores they've been going to. And 90% described their shopping experience as easier. And this is what they told us about it.
Definitely the different wines sort of displayed in their own brands, that's definitely one of the biggest differences, and I like that. I really like that.
It shows the wine off better, so therefore from a sale point of view I think it's heaps better.
It's very easy and very quick to run in and grab something if you know what you're looking for. It's very easy to find it if you know what you're looking for, and there's a lot of variety compared to anywhere else.
And we think we're onto something too. The category is up 13% in unit sales in the trial stores and 18% in value. And with value growing ahead of units, that means that we're driving up the average price of the bottle of wine and driving up our retailers' profit. We're also growing at about twice the market rate as well. In fact, some of the trial stores were growing more than 3 times the market rate. And our sales are up too, so my sales manager's pretty happy. At 31% growth, that's way more than we're getting in other stores, and it's profitable growth for us. And this shopper research project has had impacts beyond just the trial stores. It's changed our whole approach to business. We're now focused on increasing shopper engagement and category growth as primary business objectives. We're building a retail lab in our new head office, which we move into next month, so that we continue to do this kind of research and engage the wider business in the value of it. And we've also been recognised in successive annual retailer surveys as Australia's leading wine company for category management and shopper research. And this is reflected in our business strategy. The shopper project's had impacts beyond the trial stores. It's changing our whole approach to business. So, how did we get these terrific results? Well, we were facing a classic marketing problem. We had brands with really strong consumer metrics that weren't selling well in store. So this rather complicated chart illustrates brand strength. The further right you go on this chart, the greater the brand width. The higher you go on this chart, the greater the brand depth and the greater the conversion rate. So in theory, all the brands in the red circle on the right-hand side should have really strong sales. But what we also found was the brands in the green circle had apparently weak metrics, but were actually selling very well in store. So why is this? To help find the answer, we had a good look at our own sales. And the line on this chart shows that they've been declining for a few years and were just starting to level out. But they weren't giving us anything like the growth we were expecting from these strong brand metrics. So we knew we had a problem. To help turn that problem into an opportunity, we knew we had to find out more about what was going on in store and how people were shopping this category. So to help explain the shopper research part of the project, here's John.
Well, thank you, Andrew. So here's the research bit. what are the insights? What did we do to get this 31% increase in sales? It was a 4-step iterative process. Well, firstly, we did scoping. We looked at all the consumer research that apparently wasn't translating to sales. We talked significantly to the retailers because they had some knowledge, but also we wanted to know that when we came up with a solution, they were on board. And similarly, you can imagine that we need to talk to the internal stakeholders because we need to have them on board as well. We then did some extensive qualitative. We wanted to know how shoppers evaluate the buying process. We ran 3-hour focus groups where shoppers recorded what they said and they interviewed each other. We ran 11 focus groups. The picture of the bus is not an accident. We actually put people in a bus, we drive them to a liquor shop, we give them some money, they buy some wine, they talk about the process in the bus while we take them to another shop and another shop and another shop, and so we get very in-depth information. We then did a significant ethnographic study. We looked at how shoppers really shop. These people were not aware that they're part of a study. We used security cameras and observers to look at what they look at, what they pick up, what they put back, how long they spend, where they go in the store, and so on and so forth. We looked at 3 different stores, 526 shoppers, and then we did a quantification stage to look at, to test some of these theories that came out. We looked at how shoppers really shop. We used a virtual store, like not a vision critical one, but like the one they were talking about a moment ago, and we did a decision tree, and we did a price promo simulator, and that was with 3,607 shoppers. So the solutions that came out of that process equally fall into 3 groups. Firstly, all shoppers are confused and they're frustrated when shopping for wine. Secondly, these overwhelmed or these confused shoppers are overwhelmed and they don't in fact shop the whole store. They just get what they want and leave. And then shoppers use brands to navigate for cues, for quality and for brand. So let's look at the first one, all shoppers confused and frustrated. Shoppers say they love shopping for wine. You see some verbatim quotes here. They enjoy the hunting. When they get it right, they feel very confident. They even feel they look better to their friends if they have the right wine. And you know you get to show off if you've got the right wine. But when we looked at what happens when they shop, we find something very different. How do you really know what you're looking at? What happens if you bring the wrong wine to a dinner party? It's so embarrassing. Your wine, it's not good. I should know about wine, but I really don't know about wine. There's a lot of error, and if you make error, you waste money, and I don't want to waste money. So you can see a significant difference between consuming and buying. And the interesting thing is this graph, the green bars show people that agree with the idea that they're overwhelmed or confused in a shop when they're buying wine, and the red circle shows you that the enthusiasts and the hobbyists, the experts, are the most confused. So shoppers are confused because what they see is this wallpaper of wines and they can't tell the difference. There's no clear guidelines to help them and there's nothing to stop them. And some retailers put up these little things that tell you the varietal of the wine or the region or the country. The problem is that while people know that the US is the US and Chile is Chile and France is France, it means nothing to them when it comes to wine, and so it doesn't help them. So let's turn to what happens with these overwhelmed shoppers when they go to a store. This is an attention map. This is a diagram, it's a statistically derived map that shows where people pay attention to the store. The hotter the colour, the more attention. The greys mean there's very little attention. And what it shows you is that most of the store, no one pays attention. That's the grey bit. The yellow and the red bits are at the front of the store. People are missing the gondola ends, they're missing the dump ins, they're missing the specials, they're missing opportunities to buy really good wine. By the way, to prove that it's an Australian study again, the red mark, the hottest part of the store, is a beer fridge, and in fact not even wine. Now the reason it's important to measure attention is that we looked at what happens when people do pay attention. So of the people that pay attention, 100% actually interact with the wine. They pick it up and look at the label and do something. And of those people, 85% actually end up buying wine. So if you can get their attention, if you can get them through the store, you will get sales. So increasing sales by increasing areas of attention. You've got to find ways of helping shoppers navigate and giving them quality cues. This brings to the third point. How do shoppers shop? This is the virtual shelf we use, and I'm glad you saw a moment ago that it doesn't matter if you have the full SKU width, the full category. This is our selection. People can pick up wine, put it back, just as you saw in the video. And this is the results of our conjoint analysis. 2 days ago we heard about the problems with conjoint. We did ours. It was statistically beautiful, and it shows you exactly what you would expect, what most studies do, and that is people pick red wine and white wine, and between white wines and sparkling and so on and so forth. Exactly how retailers and vignerons think about the functional layout of wine. But when we did a forced replacement decision-making experiment, it shows you the brand is absolutely critical. The first pick, 61% of people picked their favourite brand. And by the way, by brand I mean the label, the brand of the wine, like Penfolds or Lindemann, and not the grape variety. And the second choice, when they have to pick a second time, you still have half the people picking brand. So it's not red and white, it's brand. We then did a cognitive decision tree, not just a behavioural decision tree, and you see there the brand, about a third of the variability of the decision making comes from brand. So brand's clearly very important. So we uncovered that shoppers say they love wine shopping, but all wine shoppers are very confused. Confused shoppers are overwhelmed, they don't shop the whole store, and that means retailers and our client were leaving sales behind. And thirdly, we see that wine brands are the most powerful and effective navigation aids, and in fact they become very strong qualitative cues. So people know a good wine when they see the right brand. So what they did was, well, what we worked with the client, and the findings were translated into new store layouts. So this is the old store layout, pretty much a mess, and that doesn't work. And so the new layouts you saw in the video are much more focused, A, on brand, and B, we demonstrate consumption. A lot of humanity in those ads, and all the brands are laid out very easily so people can find what they want. So shoppers pay much more attention as they go throughout the store. With this layout, you see a greater penetration into the store and a longer dwell time, and therefore increased sales. So let's talk about these business results from this new layout. Firstly, Treasury themselves, our client, were very happy. That's good for us because we get more work, so that part's good. Their value of sales went up by a third, well, almost a third. And as you heard Andrew say, they've increased their shopper focus. The second thing is that shoppers themselves are happy, so to your point, they don't hate the teacher. 77% prefer the new layout, and 90% say it's easier to shop. And this was the really surprising part for us. The category went up to 18%, so the retailers are happy. But what happened is that staff costs actually went down. Because if you lay the store out by brand, it makes it very easy for the retail staff to know where to put the new wines. You don't have to train the staff to understand the difference between Pinot Noir and Pinot Gris, which is a big call, red and white, if you know, but if you don't know, it's very hard. And so their staff costs went down, in fact, 12%. So, a little bit of a summary from the client.
And yes, we really were delighted. This project's driven some great results, not just in our trial stores, but it's driven a fundamental change in the way that we market to our shoppers, and that change has gone throughout the whole of our business.
So, a very successful result, but by understanding that people, shoppers, actually don't shop the way the industry, the retailers, or in fact common sense would tell you they shop. They shop a different way, and when you understand that, you can have some great growth, which we get. Thank you.
Thank you, John. You're a great presenter, and apologies of mine.